Hey y'all, what's up? It's your girl Lori J coming back to you with another 38 and Dating podcast. Thanks to everybody who's been listening, sending comments, rating, reviewing it. Please continue to share the podcast and please continue to rate it and review it on Apple iTunes podcast, Spotify, Libsyn, Google Play Music, Castbox, Acast. I'm everywhere, y'all. I'm so excited and thank you for all your support. Well, let's get to it. Another episode of 38 and Dating. Here we go. This one is called The Top Self-Realizations Necessary to Date Successfully. So I am coming to you guys with the real. Doing this podcast is really interesting because it allows me to be very transparent and raw and vulnerable. And I really appreciate the people who have been commenting, saying the same thing. When you're doing something like this and revealing a part of yourself, it can be a little scary. So just because I'm doing it doesn't mean there's not a little bit of trepidation, but I am more excited about sharing my journey with you all and sharing all of the hilarity, all of the realizations, all of the lessons, everything that I've learned so far in hopes that you'll laugh, you'll be entertained, and maybe it'll help you on your journey too. So the top number one realization that I've made in dating is check your narrative. My best friend from high school, Childs, calls it the committee in my head, which I do probably have a small or medium committee that at any given time debates everything that's going on at any given time. I don't know if you've had that before, but it can be anything from as small as the way someone looks at you to whether you said something that could be taken the wrong way. But I definitely have a committee, and sometimes I need to tell them to shut the hell up. When dating, it's really interesting because I love the excitement of new dates, and I love the excitement of all of the newness that comes with dating somebody. I hate first dates though, so it's kind of an oxymoron, right? So I love the newness, love all of the butterflies, love, everything that goes on when you're early dating, but I absolutely hate first dates, and you have to have first dates in order to get to all of the other stuff. But what's funny, because my sister and I always talk, she's like my North Star, she's my guidepost, and we always talk about butterflies, and butterflies seem like the way to go, right? When you have butterflies with a guy, it feels all exciting. It feels great. I can remember a time, this is my one wild dating story, that I was dating somebody who was relatively well known, and just being with him gave me so many butterflies in my stomach. I loved just being around him. He was very creative. He was very thought-provoking, always had something to say. He was hella militant, which is what I found out later. But we were really great friends, and that's how we started just getting to know each other. And it was interesting because I was all in, like head over heels. Like if that man told me to jump, I would say how high and where. And that's a little embarrassing to admit, honestly. But I think over the course of dating, everybody's had somebody that they've been nose wide open with. And if you haven't, good for you. It's a great experience because you have to learn from it. And what I learned from that experience is that butterflies don't necessarily mean green light ahead. And my sister actually has a great phrase. She says butterflies are warning signs. And I actually believe that. And it doesn't mean that it's always warning signs, but pay attention to the butterflies. Butterflies can sometimes feel like excitement, feel like, exuberant energy. We're just connecting. He's so great, etc. But I was always focused on him and not on me and what I was doing and, how I wasn't being my authentic self. And I learned over the course of getting to know this guy, I don't even have a nickname for him. We should give him a nickname, right? I need nicknames for all of these guys because we got to keep track. So let's call this one the Militant. And he was funny. He wasn't always militant, but man, when he wanted to talk about something about Black people, Black power, I'm all for being proud of my people, and I love my people, and I want us to do well. But it got to be extreme a lot of times. Anyway, so the Militant would, often at the very last minute tell me, hey, what are you doing? Ride with me somewhere. And I could be in the middle. I was in the middle of a party, y'all. I had all my family and friends at my loft downtown in Atlanta. And we were all chilling, having a good time. My dad was there. My mom was there. My sister, my friends. We were drinking. I had Popeye's chicken and cupcakes because I'm all about the high-low. The highbrow, the lowbrow. So I had the Popeye's chicken for the lowbrow and cupcakes for the highbrow and wine, tequila, etc. Right? So those are the kind of parties I love to throw. Just everybody cooling out, kicking it. And he literally calls me and says, "What are you doing?" And I'm like, "Oh, nothing." Because I wanted to know what he wanted to do. And so he said, "Ride with me somewhere." And that was part of the excitement for me. It was always last minute, spur of the moment. But that is not considerate, y'all. It just is not. Like, that was the younger me. Lori, today at 38 and dating, I would never, well, I can't say never, but I really wouldn't take somebody up on that or disregard my plans. Anyway, so I'm with all my family cooling out. And he says, "Ride with me somewhere." And I'm like, okay. He literally comes to my condo, my loft, and pulls up. And I tell my family, I'm like, "Hey, y'all know how to clean up. Y'all know what to do. I'll see y'all later. I got to run out real quick." And if my family is listening to this, my brothers, my sister, they will probably tell you, "What the hell was that girl thinking, doing?" But I was like, I got to go. And I left with dude. And he had this big hopped up Jeep with the, top off and everything. It was just like this wild and free kind of living that he had going on. And we literally rode out. He had to do some styling, wardrobe styling. He had an event to go to. So I went with him to get clothes tried on, etc. And it was like nothing. It was not a date. It was not like, come with me and let me take you on this date so we can experience this thing together. It was always what he wanted to do or what he needed to do. But I was just so excited to spend time with him, being such a youngin'. And I wasn't even that young, y'all. I mean, I was young, but I wasn't that young. I might have been, I don't know if I was I had to be 32 or older because I was dating my ex, the 10-year ex-boo until then. So yeah, wasn't that young, but I was still younger. Anyway, so my brothers sat me down, y'all, and they were like, "Look, you do not disregard your plans and your people for anybody." And it wasn't that I disregarded my friends because it was really mostly my family. So I was like, "Y'all know me. Y'all just hanging out anyway. Y'all don't need me." I wouldn't do that to my friends if they had actually come to see me. Let's be clear. But my family was there. And, my brothers just kind of schooled me on the game. And they were like, "Look, dude is not being considerate of your time. I don't care who he is or what he's done. He's not considerate of your time, and that's a red flag." And I heard them. And, like with big brothers and little brothers, these are actually my younger brothers who said this. And I just thought, okay, fine, whatever. And I kept doing my own thing, right? So I continued to be friends with this guy, and we hung out a lot over the course of 2 years. But what's interesting is a year into our friendship, and I really wouldn't call it dating. I guess we were dating. But a year into our friendship, we go out to breakfast, and he tells me, "I have something to tell you." And he has this dead face, just like he is not wanting to tell me whatever it is he has on his mind. And he tells me, "I'm in a relationship." I was like, "Excuse me, come again?" He's like, "I'm in a relationship and I have been, and I didn't want to tell you because I knew how you'd react." And he's like, "I already see your wall going up." And I was like, yeah, my wall is going up. You have a girlfriend, and I didn't know because we've spent all this time together. I'm like, where is this girlfriend? Where's she at? What's she do? Because you spend a decent amount of time with me, but he did have a lot of freedom given his career. And he had to always, travel and get up and go. Anyway, so that was mind blowing to me, like straight up mind blowing. And that's when I realized you gotta get out. Like even the friendship, sometimes guys will try to say, "Oh, let's just be friends." No, there is no being friends. When you like somebody and you have a connection with them, there is no being just friends sometimes, right? I'm friends with a lot of my exes or guys I used to date because I just don't have a lot of animosity toward people. I really don't. But sometimes when someone, disrespects you or misleads you, shows a character trait that absolutely is not something that you want to put up with or tolerate, sometimes you just gotta go. And it was hard with the Militant because we bonded on so many different things and ideals and philosophies, and we just had a good time together. We laughed a lot, etc. But no, that was absolutely not appropriate and not good and disrespectful. So my wall completely went up, and that's when the narrative in my head, kicked in. And it kicked in before that. So usually the narrative in the committee in my head is like, oh, did you say something wrong? What did you do? Etc. And you'll go over and over in your head about some minute thing that happened, and you'll make up things, right? So you'll make up things. And with the Militant, I didn't really make up a lot of things. I think I was kind of walking on eggshells with him, and I'll get to that in a second. But walking on eggshells in terms of whatever he wanted to do, I was okay with. Okay, if you want to rock left, I'm going to rock left. If you want to rock right, I'll rock right. And it really showed me that you absolutely have to be your authentic self in any relationship. And that's my number 2 point. You have to be your authentic self. You absolutely have to. You owe it to yourself to be your authentic self. And I think sometimes as women, we try to just, get over it, make it work, because intellectually and conceptually, we're like, oh, of course, no relationship is going to be perfect. Of course, there are going to be ups and downs, and we'll just make it work. And we're so used to making it work that we make it work for everybody else but us. That's real talk. You got to make it work for you. And in order to do that, you have to be your authentic self. Don't walk on eggshells. The other day, my sister and I were talking just about relationships overall and self-esteem and me in relationships in particular. And, she made a very poignant observation. And she said, Lori, in some of your past relationships, you really, were scared to be your authentic self. You withheld your true thoughts. You withheld your true feelings because you put the guy up on a pedestal. And I was like, no, I didn't. I don't know what you're talking about. Nuh-uh, not me, not Lori. But my sister has known me her whole life. And I had to remind her that you ain't known me my whole life. There were 2 years that I was hella reckless that you didn't know about, okay? You are 2 years younger than me, and you only know 36 years of my life. She was like, shut up. Them 2 years were tough though, y'all. I was gangster. From 0 to 2, I was gangster. Ask my mama. Anyway, so she told me that, she's really proud of me because, as of late, I've been super honest and super authentic in who I am. And that takes work, y'all. It takes self-work because you have to trust yourself and trust your instincts and trust that being your authentic self is absolutely perfect and good. And you have to make sure that you put people around you that remind you to be your authentic self and know when you're not, right? So that for me is my sister, some of my best friends. I have a really good real life committee. Now the committee in my head, they some busters. They some straight up busters. They be like, girl, don't say that. Girl, it's okay. You can work through it. It's cool. Nah, y'all. Tell that committee to shut the hell up. Anyway, so like I said, the first lesson was check your narrative. The second one is be your authentic self. So back to the Militant. I was authentically me in the fun moments, but in the moments that got tense, I was reserved and I kind of backed down. And what I've learned through my self-thought process recently is a lot of times I was the passenger in my relationships, right? So I'm a go with the flow girl. I'm an Aquarius, y'all. I go with the flow. I'm cool. I'm chill. It's one of the things I'm proud of. You ask me to do something, you can ask my girl Shauna. She's like, Laura, you want to go jump off a cliff? I'm like, okay, whatever. Now I lie because I'm scared of heights, but I do things to help me get over my fear of heights, like rock climbing and hiking. And I do a lot of those things to purposely push myself out of my comfort zone. But most things, if you ask me to do it, I'm probably like, okay, cool. And I was like that in my relationships. And a good girlfriend from work, Nadia, told me once, like when I was talking to her about the Militant, she was like, you should approach your relationships just like you approach your career. She's like, in your career, you are a boss. Like you literally take no nonsense. You ask for what you want. You demand what you want. And you make sure that things are mutually beneficial when making deals, whereas in your relationships, it's like you kind of just go along with it because, the guy kind of puts it out there. And it was true. And I think there was some degree of awareness that I had in terms of the Militant having this career that was in the spotlight. And I really was okay with it, but maybe I was enamored with it. I don't know. I can't really say, but I appreciate somebody who's worked hard to become successful and pulled themselves up from the bootstraps. I really do. I like a lot of self-made men. I like guys who have their own ideas and passions and desires for what they want to do in life instead of only working in corporate America. If they have a passion outside of that's attractive to me. So be your authentic self is lesson number 2. And then lesson number 3, y'all, is like energy attracts like energy. It's something that Iyanla Vanzant said in one of her Fix Your Lives. I don't really watch the show because it's really heavy, but I remember I watched the first one with Karrueche Tran, like in some season. It was the first episode. And Karrueche was like, oh, Chris Brown. She dated Chris Brown, y'all, if y'all didn't know. She said Chris Brown was kind of crazy and, I didn't realize it. And, I loved being with him and it was fun. It was wild, but, he had all these things about him that were crazy. And Iyanla said, what is it in you that he saw that attracted him to you? Because like energy attracts like energy. And you attracted him to you on the opposite end. And I find that to be so true. Like, when I told you guys last time about the Paper Perfect guy, and that was a year or so ago, I think. And my energy at that time, I think, was, okay, Lori, you want to be in a serious relationship. You do want to find your mate or have your mate find you, whatever. And, you need somebody who is going to be a good provider and a good co-pilot, right? So I'm not the kind of girl that's like, oh, I need somebody to take care of my every need. I definitely contribute and want to contribute, equally to a relationship, whether it's financially or emotionally, etc. I do believe in the power of partnership. But I had dated a young guy, the physical trainer before him, and I was like, oh, he don't know what he's doing in life. I can't hitch my wagon to that. My wagon needs to be hitched to somebody who's actually doing something, going somewhere. They know what they want to do. They have passions of their own, etc. So the Paper Perfect guy, I think I was in a space where I knew myself better. I knew what I wanted, in my life. And I was ready for that. But I think that I was ready for it in a construct of my mind. In terms of, okay, it must look something like this. So if you see something like that, that might be a good way to go. And like I said, y'all, I had to throw out the rules, the lists, all that stuff, because what I realized was, like energy attracts like energy. I don't want to come up with what I think I should have or who I think I should be with. I just want to be Lori. And I want to be happy, which I am. I'm very, very happy, y'all. And my happiness will attract people to me. And I don't have to try. And it's great because it is focused on me for the first time. It's focused on what makes Lori happy, what makes Lori, feel like she's living her best life. And when I'm happy and I'm not somebody who's not happy often, but I can be kind of stressed or A-type or, have the committee in my head saying, okay, let's vote on this one. Let's go. What are we doing? That A-type personality can drive you bananas sometime, right? In dating. But when I'm happy, life is fun. Life is carefree. Great people start to come in my circle. Great things happen to me. And I knew after, the last relationship, I had to get back to that, like just unfiltered, unadulterated happiness. And it's true. The happier I am, the more that great things happen to me, and it'll happen for you too. So check your energy, y'all. Like energy attracts like energy. You have to be in tune with your energy, right? So y'all know when you're like nervous about something, everything seems to be falling apart, or when you're anxious, you can't sleep at night, things seem to not be going your way. That's the energy I'm talking about. It's the energy you're putting out that is bringing everything to you, right? So even in my career, there was a time where I had a rocky road with a boss and everything seemed to be tumultuous. Everything seemed to be in upheaval. And I was always nervous going to my boss and asking for things, saying things, because there was this discord between us that was new. And I realized, you know what? I have to level set. I'm the one that has to go to my boss and say, hey, I'm on your squad. Because it was true. I was on my boss's squad. And I wanted nothing but the best for both of us. And once I did that, once I let go of the nerves, let go of the anxiousness, our relationship got so much better. And that's what I'm talking about in terms of you control the energy you feel inside, and you control the energy that comes into your circle. So be protective, y'all. Be protective of your circle. Be protective of your energy, but tap into your authentic energy. Tap into how you feel when you're living your best life and go after that more, right? So back to the Militant. So the Militant, after he told me he had a girlfriend, y'all, I was like, Buster. No, but I still was really drawn to him. No lie. I'm not even gonna lie. I'm not gonna say, oh, I immediately was like, peace out, dude. It wasn't like that. I put my wall up. I put distance between us, and I struggled with, but we're friends. So I shouldn't just write him off. There was no hate. It was mad disrespectful, but I was glad I knew. And I still just enjoyed his presence, his company. So I moved to it being more of a phone, we'll talk sometimes kind of thing. But after I put my wall up, he got really demanding. And I remember I was traveling to the West Coast, and I was out there for whatever reason, I think maybe for work. And he was going to be traveling to the West Coast soon after. And he said, oh, I have to go speak at this university on the West Coast. And he said, wait for me. He's like, stay in Cali, wait for me. And I was like, should I not? What did I do, y'all? What do y'all think I did? What did I do? I tried to wait. So while I'm out there trying to wait, I'm like, okay, let me see if I can book a different flight. I know, crazy. I'm not saying my dating stories are perfect. Y'all can cuss me out in y'all's head and be like, what was she thinking? But we all know that everybody has moments where you do not make the perfect decision, and that's what it is, okay? Dating is about a journey. It's about learning, right? So this was definitely something that I reflected on and learned from. But anyway, I tried to book another flight, and then he hit me up with a piece of work that he had just finished. He was like, hey, check this out. And I was like, okay. So I texted him back and I said, hey, what time are you coming out here? Because I need to figure out flights. And he said, nothing. He said nothing. I texted him asking him what time he was coming out, and he said nothing. In what world does a dude ask you to be somewhere and gives you no details? I was like, oh, hell no. So what did I do? I left on my original flight. I bounced. He calls me the next day like, hey, are you still out here? Now, the fact that he had to ask me if I was still out there knew that your ass knew that I was probably not out there, right? So, and I'm sorry for cursing, y'all. I try to keep it clean, but sometimes you just gotta curse. And so I was like, I left. I came back to Atlanta because you didn't hit me back. And what he said next, y'all, it bowled me over. I don't even know if I want to tell y'all, to be honest. I'm sorry. I'm being real in the moment. I don't know if I want to tell y'all. What he said next was, woman, unless I'm dead, and if I tell you something, you stand on that. You believe that. And you stay. And I was like, who is he talking to? I'm sorry. Don't you have a girlfriend you need to go share that message with? Who are you talking to, sir? Sir. I'm sorry. You've mistaken me. That, y'all, was the beginning of the end. I literally was like, look here. I was like, you did not communicate. You did not call me back. I'm trying to be cool. I'm trying to be friends with you, but I'm not going to stay somewhere and you don't communicate. And you know what? This is just too challenging. So after that, whenever he would call, I would pick up the phone sometimes. I was like in New Orleans one time and we argued and he was just mad because he's like, why did you put this wall up? You know, it's still us. It's still us. No, it's not. No, it's not. I'm sorry. You have a girlfriend. We can't even be friends because this right here, this energy, I ain't feeling it. So I learned hardcore to protect my energy. Anytime you're feeling discord, y'all, anytime you're feeling like there's too much angst going on, like listen to that. That's your inner God voice telling you something's wrong. Like red alert, something's wrong. Get out. And too often we ignore it or we try to push it to the side and say, oh, I can rationalize this. But no, listen the first time. I think a lot of my dating lessons are about listening the first time around, believing the first time around. So yeah, listen to y'all's God voice. So the Militant ended up going about his business. We are cool from afar. I have zero animosity toward dude. He's doing great things, I'm sure. But yeah, that closeness, I had to like literally just cut it. Like it was just like, I can't do it anymore. So next time you guys are thinking when you're dating, like, oh, maybe I can put up with this, or maybe really evaluate what you're doing and figure out who you're protecting and who you're putting first. Just like my sister said, the pedestal thing. Who's on the pedestal? It should be you. You. I don't care if you're a guy or a girl. It should be you. Look out for you first. The pilots always say, put your mask on first. Take care of you first. I, have had to learn that over and over. And I truly believe that God sends you lessons and keeps having you learn lessons over and over until it really sticks. So I kept having to learn, you know what, Lori, put you first, put you on the pedestal. And it's not to say that you're higher and mightier than somebody, but it is to say you're looking out for you and you're making sure that you are good and that you feel good and that you are your authentic self and that you are living your best life at all times. And that is what's important in dating, y'all. So those are my top self-realizations necessary to date successfully. So please, please, please do a check-in, y'all. Check in with yourself often and frequently. Check in with your close people, your close real life committee, whether it's a sibling, a best friend, a parent, whoever it is in your life. Check in, y'all. Have them tell you how you've been in your past relationships and sit there and listen. It was really hard for me to listen to my sister when she told me about her perception of how I had been in previous dating relationships. It was hard because I wanted to say, no, I'm not. But I said, Lori, just listen. Whether it's true or not, it's her perception and it's true from her standpoint. So what she sees is valid to me because she's in my close real life committee and she knows me. She knows me. She's one of the people that knows me best. So sit there, listen, and then do your own evaluation and figure out if that's true, not true, if there's something you can glean from it. And keep on going, y'all. Keep on dating. There are more wild and crazy dates out here for y'all to get to. Don't be discouraged either, y'all. It is fun. It is exciting. I'm loving dating right now. I really, really am, y'all. I'm in a great place, a happy place. So keep at it. It is not woe is me, but it is definitely a journey. And I want y'all to really learn what's important on your own journey. Okay, so y'all hit me with questions on Instagram, on Twitter. Y'all can email me at LoriJH@gmail.com. It's in my Instagram bio too. Lori, LORIJAY on Instagram. Just hit me up and let me know what you want to hear about next time. Until then, y'all, I'll see you for the next 38 in dating. Thanks.